into oracle cards and you're into tarot cards and you are really expanding sort of your spiritual practices, but then at some point you kind of ask yourself, okay, is there a point to this? Not only that, but beyond that, why do I feel like I need more, right? Why do I feel like I should consume more and buy more and buy the latest oracle deck? So in today's video, we're going to be addressing just that, and I will show you a few of my absolute favorite decks, but I will show you how you can actually use them in more than one way. And I will show you how you can use them first thing in the morning, how they can be really a useful tool without making you feel like you are relying on them for answers, but rather than using them as an empowerment tool. So if that sounds good, why don't we just dive right into the video. Hey guys, what's happening? It's Meshi with Meshi TV. I'm so glad that you are here and you made it to this channel. Well, first of all, welcome. And if we've never met, then this channel is all about using the law of attraction, using manifestation tools, but also using energies around you in a more positive way where you feel more empowered rather than feeling like you need to consume more. So if that sounds good, consider subscribing if you haven't already. And why don't we dive into this? The main reason why I enjoy oracle cards versus tarot cards, and don't get me wrong, I have both, I own both, but my preference is always oracle cards because I find that if I have a certain question in my head, then I find that I'm getting a more direct answer versus if I'm trying to kind of go after the tarot. With tarot, you have to go through this process of not only understanding the cards, but also trying to translate them and then relay them back to your initial question. So with oracle cards, you really don't need to. It becomes a lot easier for you to kind of read them. But I find that sometimes, and I'm not sure if that's true for you, but it was absolutely true for me, I would gravitate towards readings online where I would want to see if they're using that specific deck that I already owned and see how they're going to be reading those types of cards. Basically, some of the few decks that I have brought here with me, that some of them are brand new and some of them I've had for a while, but the ones that I'm using right now are more than one word. And the reason why I love this, and I will show you guys a close-up. You have your deck. This particular one is actually my latest one, is the Super Attractor deck from Gabby Bernstein. So I will show you guys a close-up of this in a moment, but basically the reason why I love these is because whenever I pull a card and I have a general question in my head of what it is that I need to know for today, what it is that I'm sort of manifesting, how can I be a vibrational match of what I'm manifesting today, then I find that some of the cards have one full sentence there and others have, you know, a full phrase. So it's a little bit more guidance. So here, for example, this says that the universe has big plans for me and it's time to claim them. So to me, this can be read in so many different ways, but it can be just read in the most direct way possible, where it allows me to dream big and it's okay to go after my dreams, and that there are big things that I'm kind of manifesting and I'm pulling towards me. So some of them obviously are a little bit shorter, like this one, for example, says, I believe I'm worthy of feeling good. So this might be a fantastic one first thing in the morning, where I might not feel so great, or I might not feel so inspired. I might be feeling like I'm not making enough progress. You know, all of those lack messages that might be coming up. And then you see a card like this, and then it kind of allows you to snap out of it a little bit. One of the best ways that you can use them is to simply start at the start of the day to ask what it is that I need to know for today. And I would pull about 1 to 2 cards. I would keep it very short, very simple. And I would kind of focus on that. Now, another way that I have used these oracle decks before is at the very beginning of the week, or even on Sunday when I'm doing my weekly planning, I would pull a card. I would kind of take a look at the message and see how that can be sort of my direction for the week. So I would pull a card specific to what is my direction, how I'm going to sort of view what is that personal development key that I'm going to really place a higher focus on. So for that, I wouldn't actually use the manifestation deck. You can if you wanted to. I actually prefer either the Sacred Creators from Chris Ann, because here it literally gives you, it either says something like water, or it says, well, why don't I just pull? See, sometimes that's what happens. So sometimes you end up shuffling and then there's a couple of them that pop up. But here, the card that I pulled says changes. So let's say that you pull these cards for the week. And so one says changes, as you saw, and then the other one says step ahead is all you need. So this would be a fantastic directional reading where you don't necessarily need to dive deeper than that. Sometimes you need to hear that you don't need to have your entire week or your entire to-do list crushed by Monday at 12 o'clock, but you only need to take one micro step for you to actually make progress. So these are fantastic examples of that. Changes can be in changing your mind. It can be changes within your wellness routine. It can apply to whatever you're asking about. But sometimes keeping it super simple of 1 to 2 cards can be the key to not only keep it simple, but also to ask you to use it more consistently. So another way that I have used oracle cards before, what does my body need right now? So I have done recently one on manifestation, which obviously it's very much about what is the energy that you're pulling towards yourself. But another fantastic way that you might want to use your oracle cards is sort of tune in to what type of self-care routine, what sort of self-care can you actually use that you might need for today. So for that, I generally end up using the Sacred Self-Care deck, Oracle deck. You don't have to. You can absolutely use the one that I just used a moment ago, the Sacred Creators, because changes can be, okay, what type of self-care routine do I need, or what kind of self-care does my soul require right now for me to be in alignment? So it's always like shaping your questions in a way every single day that sort of leans you into growth, leans you into positivity, rather than it's like a yes or no question. Do you know what I mean? Whatever power you give these tools is sort of what's going to kind of rule you. But but you can also use this as, it's a fantastic way to use them as general guidance. And if you use them that way, then it can be extremely empowering. So you might look at your self-care one and you pull a card that says, spend time with animals. Great. So to me, that might mean that I need to be, or even if you don't have animals, you might need to spend time outdoors in nature and observing animals. Really think about and take a look at the card. And so you might look at the self-care ones and be like, that doesn't really apply to me. Try it anyway. My recommendation is to try it anyway, whether that's spending time outdoors. Sometimes we just need a little reset where, you know, you're doing something different. But these are sort of like the basic ways that you can use oracle cards. And the reason why I like oracle cards is especially when you're getting started, then they're not as overwhelming. They kind of excite your eyes and they have a lot of things going on, but the messaging can be very simple or long enough for you to be able to decipher it. One of the saddest things that I've seen is that whether it's about oracle cards or it's about tarot or it's about the latest thing, is when we're giving these tools too much power, then it can feel like we need to get all of the things rather than just getting the basics and really diving deep into them and really using them in a way that it lights us up. And honestly, use your discernment when it comes to that, because I think that when you do, then they can be a wonderful tool to really allow you to connect deeper and a more meaningful way. So this is all I have for you guys. If you wanted to see a full reading, me using these cards, I will put them into the cards of some of my recent ones. One was on manifestation, one was on love that I was actually using it on, and one was, I believe, the weekend reading. So I do use them quite regularly, and I find myself using more of the oracle decks than I do use the tarot decks. So just keep that in mind. It's a personal choice, it's personal preference. You may use them in a totally different way, but I just wanted to kind of bring this to you guys so we can kind of change the perception of how you can use these wonderful tools. So let me know in the comments below if you do use Oracle cards, and if you do, what your favorite one is. I would love to hear from you guys. And if you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet already. And in the meanwhile, just keep seeking, you guys, and I will see you guys again in my next video. Bye.